I think when people start at the beginning thinking, I want to be a content creator, they've already set a goal. So the journey is like every day you're like, I'm not there yet. Whereas for me, I didn't have a goal in mind. And I was just on this journey that I was really enjoying. And it just sort of started to make me money and made me a lifestyle that I enjoyed. If you were black, it was like, I'm seeing you in a really nice resort or whatever. And I was on a budget. I'm young. Back then I was even younger. And I was like, where's the people that look like me who are trying to do this?
You can definitely tell the influencers or creators who have a brand and true to themselves, as opposed to the ones that are like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm getting money, I'll just promote anything.
Put yourself in the shoes of the brand. How can they see them fitting into your content? Organically mention brands and products that you genuinely love will possibly bring in partnerships from them specifically.
Once you've proven to yourself you can do this, it's like, okay, now I want to do this, I can do it.
Eventually I got an email that was for my first ever brand deal. Wow, like this thing that like the influencers talk about, it's happening to me, and like money is coming my way. So from that point on, I took myself on as a client, where I onboarded myself properly. I did a full audit of my social media so far. I put a strategy in place, and I literally started like growing it as a business, or as if I was coaching myself through it, even though I was both sides.
If you've ever thought about building a personal brand but talked yourself out of it thinking, that's not for me, no one's gonna watch, I'm not ready enough, this video is gonna be for you. I sat down with Dominique Mills, solo travel content creator with hundreds of thousands of followers, and she built it all from zero organically as a young black woman navigating spaces that weren't built for her in mind. Now, what came out of this conversation was 7 reasons why building a personal brand will genuinely change your life. And she's also going to be speaking at my event, which we're going to get into as well. I'm very excited for this video because she is a great friend of mine. So we're going to get straight into it, and I hope you enjoy. So before we start to talk about what a personal brand can do for you, we need to understand how exactly you got into what you're doing. Because obviously you didn't just start with the massive, all the followers and the big personal brand, it started somewhere. So take us back to the beginning, what you were doing before you got into content, and what made you want to start sharing your travels online.
Okay, so I think my whole career kind of started with one decision, which was to drop out of university. I was in veterinary school at Uni of Bristol, and I just knew even before I went, this kind of isn't for me, but I'd spent so long trying to get there that I was like, I'm committed now. So I got there and I was realising that all my creative hobbies, I was getting into them massively because I wasn't getting that satisfaction from my degree. And I was getting more into painting, more into dancing, and I was like, gosh, I wish I could make a career from this. And I started to realise that I had no passion for vet med whatsoever. So I actually just started thinking about dropping out, and I didn't really think it was an option, but I started to think about it more and more, and I came to the decision to drop out. So I was like, I need a plan. I need something in place because my dad's not going to be happy with me. You know how it is. So I was like, I need to have a plan in place. What job am I going to get? And I don't just want to like work hospitality. I want to have a career. Like I've always wanted to have a career for myself. So I thought, like, what are my talents? And I've always loved making videos, like all the time. Even when I was little, I'd make stop motion films. I'd make my friends act in little things. And I've always just been creative and into editing. So I was like, I can do this for businesses. And I think I can just market them on social media. But again, I had like no real experience and no proof that I could do this. I just, off the vibes, I knew if I tried, I could do it. So at this point, I'm looking online, I'm going to free marketing courses, YouTube videos, and I taught myself everything that I could do for free about marketing. And then I went around and was basically asking to try and get a client. And I got my first client, secured them, and then dropped out of university and was like, this is what I'm going to do. So I was basically doing digital marketing, specifically like social media videos, editing, strategy, all this stuff. And I was freelance, so I was location independent, like it didn't matter where I was. And that's when I started to really travel because I could be anywhere. I was my own boss and I was like making money on my terms. And that's when people started to ask questions like, when's Dominique coming back off holiday? her Instagram's looking a bit like she's always by the pool, or why is she in Thailand again? Like, and people would start to literally DM me and be like, what happened to university? Because I didn't tell anyone I was dropping out. I just made my moves in silence. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start a whole new Instagram account and a TikTok account and just document my life as a digital nomad. And that's kind of how I got into it. I started posting videos. There was no pressure. It was just because I loved doing it and I wanted to be more creative and also document my time traveling. And I just kept posting and people kept asking more questions. People kept watching and my followers just kept growing. And again, you know, I was working full time alongside this, but it just grew into something and a bit of a community. And I was like, hold on, this is pretty good. I'm enjoying this. It's getting somewhere. And eventually I got an email that was for my first ever brand deal. And I was like, wow, like money, this thing that like the influencers talk about, it's happening to me. And like money is coming my way. So that's when I was really like, this is a business, if I think about it that way. So from that point on, and I think this is what kind of helped accelerate my growth over other people, is that I took myself on as a client. So I onboarded myself properly. I did a full audit of my social media so far. I put a strategy in place and I literally started like growing it as a business, or as if I was coaching myself through it, even though I was both sides. And then it just grew into what it is now. And along the way, I was like, I don't need these other clients. So I closed that down and just went into content full time.
Okay. Oh, wow. So did you expect it to get to where it is now? Or you were kind of like, let me just see how all this goes and go with the flow?
Yeah, at no point did I think I want to be like an influencer or even to be a content creator full time. But I think when things are going well, in life, you just can't resist it. Like, you've got to flow where your talents are taking you and where life is taking you. And I was like, do you know what? This is working out for me. Maybe it's working out a bit easier than other people are finding it to work for them. And I was like, I shouldn't just not do it because I'm not sure what I want to do. I was like, let me just put everything into it, put more into it. And it kind of accelerated my growth once I realised that I could do this. I think when people start at the beginning thinking, I want to be a content creator, they've already like set a goal. So the journey is like every day you're like, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I didn't have a goal in mind and I was just on this journey that I was really enjoying, and it just sort of started to make me money and made me like a lifestyle that I enjoyed.
Okay. So some actionable steps we can take for the viewer. What would you kind of recommend if someone's wanting to start a personal brand, whether it's in travel, whether it's in cooking, whatever it is, what steps would you kind of recommend for them to take in order to grow?
I think the first thing would be to recognise what your talents are. There's no point forcing yourself into a niche that isn't coming naturally to you, because you're going to make it a lot harder for yourself and there's no longevity in that. It's not as authentic as it can be. So write down what your talents are, and it doesn't matter if somebody else has the same talents or if you think it's oversaturated or whatever, because you're a different person and everyone's got a unique perspective. So I think once you recognise that, then you can start making videos and posting, and again, just keeping it true to yourself and like something fun that you actually enjoy, and the right people will come.
Okay, fabulous. So this next part is kind of on talking about how you shaped your personal brand, and again, how someone can shape it in a way that is true to themselves. So how would you define a personal brand to someone who thinks it's just for influencers or just for people who want to be famous? Obviously with you had the freedom of being able to work from wherever. You got to work with, well, before you started, got to work with cool brands, but now with the brand deals you have, the people that you choose to work with, you have that autonomy around, you know, I want to work with this person, I don't want to work with this person. But yes, how would you kind of define a personal brand?
I would say a personal brand is your unique perspective and what people will kind of know you for. And this doesn't need to be, again, like career focused. It can kind of be your vibe, your personality, and your unique perspective on life that other people might be interested in watching and learning more about. And I think that's why everyone can have a personal brand. You don't necessarily need to be doing something super cool and amazing. Just your personality or your perspective, your storytelling, these are things that you can be known for. You can just be a funny person. That is part of your personal brand. So just finding those unique things about you that make you who you are and that people can know you for.
And what would you say is the difference between someone who kind of has a large following and someone who has a personal brand? And why I kind of ask that is because when, for example, somebody sees your account, they know what you stand for, they know the types of things you... Because I feel like when people kind of build their brands, having a strong personal brand means your followers or the people that watch you can be like, okay, Dominique wouldn't do that, or she won't work with that brand. They know what you stand for. So what would you kind of say is the distinguisher?
I think a lot of people on their growth journey focus on the numbers. And if you are focusing on that, I think you're less likely to be building a personal brand. There's a lot of things that can get you views and followers and like virality, but majority of them don't have anything to do with like who you are, because when you think viral, it means you're resonating with everyone and that everyone wants to watch this. Whereas if you have a personal brand, you're speaking to a specific group of people that want your advice, they want to see your lifestyle. It's very niche down, and like that's kind of the difference. So you need to stay true to yourself and like authentic, and then the right audience will come. It will be smaller than what you could get if you're aiming for virality, but it's more specific and interested and active. And I think that's the difference building a personal brand. There's pillars that you're known for, and like you can kind of remove social media and you're still a standalone person with these values. And like you said, like people can understand where you come from, what you stand for, what's important to you, and choose to support you in that.
Mm-hmm. In this section, we're gonna go over the mindset barriers you had to get over. So again, I feel like a lot of people or a lot of women, when they look at people in your position now, they'll be like, oh my gosh, she's so confident, or oh my gosh, it's come so natural to her. And they might be starting at point 0 and they're looking at your point 100 and they're comparing themselves to you, and they don't necessarily understand what you may have had to overcome to get to where you got to. So when you kind of started, did you have to overcome any mindset barriers to kind of stay consistent and not think about what people are thinking about you?
I think, being completely honest, the barriers that I have now in my mindset are actually stronger and more of a barrier than what I had in the beginning.
Oh, really?
I think because when I started fresh accounts, like new TikTok, new Instagram, everything 0, new YouTube, and no one was technically watching. And my thoughts then were, if somebody wants to watch, they're interested, and if not, it's going to help me anyway, that kind of thing. Whereas now I'm like, so many people are watching, even people that aren't really interested, but they're just watching. And that is more pressure to me. There's like thousands times more people that are watching me. There's a lot more pressure. I've now built a kind of name for myself. People expect certain things from me, and you know, there's a lot of pressure there to basically fill the boots that I've made for myself. Whereas at the start, I definitely did have mental barriers, but I'd say, they were different. And I found them actually quite easier then. Okay. So I think these are things that you can tackle and get past. The main things for me were, friends watching or peers from school watching, camera shyness and just filming in public, things like that. And also just the fact that you're trying to build something in the public eye. I think a lot of people like to build in private and then come out when it's done, and with social media you just can't do that. You have to just post from the beginning, and people are going to realize that in the beginning there's going to be 200 views and then it's going to grow and grow, but it's going to be embarrassing to start with because no one's watching, and you have to convince people why they should be watching. So I would say don't get discouraged by low views, and you can't let the numbers quantify how important what you're doing is. And your passion and your drive to do it needs to be what you go off of, basically. So I would say if you're worried about people watching, then just think about the bigger picture. Think about the fact that this is something for you and for your personal journey, and try not to let any other people get in the way. Another thing is consistency, like you said. When you're a one-woman show, it is so hard, and you know this yourself, it is so hard to keep motivated because who's helping you? And who's telling you? You don't have deadlines.
Exactly.
You're making up the deadlines, and you think, I can probably just move that because I made it up anyway. So it is really hard to stay motivated, especially in the start when no one's watching. So I think get some sort of schedule together, something that you can stick to, not what Instagram has told you is the optimum or whatever, 7 days a week or 3 days a week. if you can post once a week, but you know that you can do that the 52 weeks a year, that is better than trying to shove out 4 videos and then getting burnt out and all this stuff. So find a consistent plan that works for you and follow it, and you can make it up. It's your social media, it's your personal brand. You can talk about whatever you want and like stay consistent with whatever you've set.
And I think that's a good point, because yes, obviously it's your own personal brand, but you're also affecting so many people. And I feel like with your brand in particular, that's how we met in the first place on one of your group trips. You have kind of built it. Like, if you weren't to be Dominique Travels, you wouldn't have helped all these different people become friends, show them new countries, new experiences, and now it's beyond you and you've helped so many people. So yeah, I feel like people kind of think, oh, okay, I'm just me, I have no value to share, I can't help anyone. But once you put yourself out there, there's probably so many people you can help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when I started this, there's no way I thought I'd be having an impact on real people. Again, this was more of a passion project for me, and it was more looking just inward and looking here. Little did I know it would turn into something like this, where I'm affecting like real people. Like, I'm getting told stories from people in person, like you're meeting friends. I'm literally watching you like make some of your best friends that you've met through me, and I'm like, that.
Shout out to Nigel, shout out to Victoria.
Literally, shout out to everyone that was ever in Colombia, Brazil.
That was such a good trip.
And I just think like it's these moments that are the real reward for me, and like a milestone of how far I'm getting. And it just shows, like, even at this size, it's not the numbers that are really bringing me my joy. It's the people and like the connections, and that's what being online is all about. It's about connecting with people and like finding your community and your like-minded people.
Is there any moments on your journey where you were kind of like, oh my goodness, okay, I don't want to continue this anymore, or where you were really disheartened or something happened, and what did you do to kind of get over that?
I don't think there's been a big moment where something's gone really wrong. However, one thing that still bothers me to this day is that when I put the most time into a video, or when it's something where I'm like, I really feel like I've got something to say, or whatever, it always does worse than the other videos. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. Like, whenever you feel like this is really something, you put a lot of emotional value behind it, it always just performs the worst. I don't know why. I guess it's just because you've got something to say rather than something viral or something that everyone's going to relate to. And that is like the disheartening moments for me, because it's like I've put so much time and effort into this and it just doesn't perform the way you've wanted. But the reason I keep doing things like this, and why I'm happy to get like knocked back with these situations, is because, again, I've got to tell myself this is for me and for the people it's going to reach that actually want it. And like, you have to look at the bigger picture, that the numbers aren't everything. And when I have brands reach out to me, they'll be like, I saw that like really great post that you did about X, and that's the one that got no views. So it's like when you talk about meaningful subjects and things that are important to you, no matter what the views are, you're gonna get better opportunities and outcomes. So I think all the times that I feel initially knocked down, it always ends up being a lot better in the end. I just can't see it yet.
Okay. So what would you kind of say to the woman watching this who was kind of filled with that self-doubt and thinking, oh, what are my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? What are my colleagues going to think? And is in her head kind of not self-sabotaging, because obviously I feel like these feelings and thoughts are valid, and they are like, yes, people are watching, but they don't really care as much as you think they care. What would you kind of say to that person to get over that fear?
I think whenever someone starts a social media or trying to build anything, it's because no matter how small, there is a spark of belief that you can get the outcome that you're like chasing. And I think that is what you need to hold on to. So when people are watching and you don't want them to, or when something's flopped and you put a lot of public effort into it, you know deep down, this is just going to be a part of your story when you've made it. And like, it's just a setback, and you'll be in a podcast episode and you'll be saying, this one time there was a bump in the road. And that's exactly what it is. It's a journey. It's no fun if you just make it to the end result. Like, it has to have ups and downs. You have to have these mental blocks, and just remember that you know personally why you're doing this in the first place. and you know you can do it, and you don't need to prove that or explain that to anyone else along the way. So like just focus on you and where you're trying to get to, and the end result will show itself, and you just don't need to mention it. Like, you just need to believe.
Okay, that was a great one. Alrighty. Now, moving on to the opportunities that have come with building a personal brand, can you kind of walk us through what building your platform has actually opened up for you? So whether that's brand deals, travel opportunities, income, what does that look like from when you started to now?
So I'd say back in the start, I was so excited to get things for free, right? And I say it in like inverted commas because nothing's free in life. And I would be making like videos in exchange for maybe a cooking class in Thailand, things like that. And when I first started doing that and unlocking experiences that obviously you usually have to pay for, that you're used to either having to pay or not being able to afford, basically, that was like, oh my gosh, I've hit the jackpot. But then like when my first brand deal came in and they were going to pay me real money, I was like, wow, like, this is a career. This is something that could be sustainable. So that was kind of like a turning point for me when I had those realizations. But then what I've realized over time is that what is most important to me is, like I said, connection. So I've been able to host group trips where I'm taking my audience and like my community members all over the world. And that is probably like the top experience for me and what this has brought for me. Because I feel like when you post online, you're kind of detached from people in some way because it's the online world, it's not in real life. And as time goes on, in real life events and like meeting people is getting less and less common. And we're losing like that human touch these days.
Especially with AI and everything.
Yeah, especially with AI.
That's a conversation for another day.
It's really hard. So I think building these in-person connections through group trips is like amazing. It's got me to meet people like you, and like that is the real reward of my job that I think now, the fact that I can sell these trips well and get to meet people and give opportunities to them through my job. Like people are getting to travel, take their first trips. They might not have had anyone to go with, or they might not have had the budget, but these trips are a bit more affordable. So those kind of opportunities that I'm making for other people is like an opportunity for me, like in myself.
And I'd also say with it being like hosting diverse trips as well, because I feel like there are, you know, many group trips out there, but not like your group trip was the first one. I was like, oh, okay, we've got a mixture of everyone here. So yeah,
I think that comes with the like my perspective and like being a mixed race woman myself, being LGBTQ plus. It's just like I have these unique perspectives and I attract people who are from those communities, and therefore we're going to have a really mixed bag on our trips, and it's going to be nice and diverse, which isn't always the case, like you said. And now onto brand deals. That's definitely like my bread and butter for how I make money, and it is essential. Like, if you want to do content creation full time, you need to have some sort of income, whether that's brand deals or affiliate links or speaking events. Different content creators make their money different ways, but for me, my main one is brand deals. And finding the brands that I'm aligned with is like a challenge in itself. But again, when you stick to what is like really aligned with who you are and your morals and your brands, your morals and your what? I'm trying to think of what I meant. Like, I had a word in my head. But anyway, when you stick to your morals, that's how you kind of get the further opportunities, because more people think, oh, Dominique aligns with this, we align with this, so let me go and see if she wants to work with us. And that's how you really create like the right community. When you just take any jobs and you're not as picky, people don't really know what you stand for, and it's pretty hard to like tell what you're about. So
I was going to say as well, I feel like the audience can also tell. Like, you have some creators who will actually work with any brand. And I feel like with your brand, because even when we were in Brazil, you were telling me how you denied this brand opportunity. Obviously, that would have been a lot of money for you, but you wanted to be true to your audience and you didn't want to just promote things because they're giving you money. So I think you can definitely tell the influencers or creators who have a brand and true to themselves, as opposed to the ones that are like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm getting money, I'll just promote anything. So yeah.
And I think, you know, a lot of people don't see the no's that you say behind the scenes. And like, they might even see an ad that comes out and they'll be like, oh, why is Dominique doing another ad? And it's like, please,
girl,
please, you don't know what I've just said no to in order to choose this one. So to try and make you guys more happy and to fit my morals as well. And like, there's so many no's that I say, like way more no's than yeses. And like, if I was just after money, I could have money right now. But like, it's about being like true to yourself and hoping that in the long term, it's going to build me something bigger that I'm proud of. And there's less moments where I'm like, I wish I didn't do that.
Okay, so when it came to monetizing and getting those brand deals, how is there like specific things that brands look for? So again, if someone's watching this wanting to build their brand or they are wanting to monetize things, what certain things did you do to make sure that you were not attractive to brands, but attractive to brands?
Yeah, I would say the main piece of advice, because I do get asked this quite a lot, the main piece of advice I'd give is put yourself in the shoes of the brand. How can they see them fitting into your content? If you're someone that gatekeeps everything, for example, you're going to do a full face of makeup and you won't tell anyone the brands you're using, you'll just say what the product is. It's kind of like, well, the brand's not going to get mentioned there, so they can't see themselves fitting into your content. Something that did really well for me in the beginning is I would do packing videos, I would do like what's in my carry-on, things like this. I'd tell you exactly what bag I've used because I've gone through the process of the rubbish ones and I found the best ones, and I'll tell you exactly which one it is and why it's worth your money. And no one would be paying me to say that. It was just because like I use this brand already, so now they're probably going to be interested in me and reach out for a brand deal, which has happened.
Yeah.
So I think to organically mention brands and products that you genuinely love will possibly bring in partnerships from them specifically, or another brand like a competitor might think, let me change her mind and show us why our brand's the best and get our name in there instead.
Okay. So beyond the money side of things, I feel like you've kind of touched on this because you mentioned community, but how has having a personal brand kind of changed your day-to-day life, your confidence and the way you move through the world?
I think it's kind of made me somewhat unstoppable in my own head anyway. Whenever I like I'm worried about something or think or like set a challenge for myself, I know that I can get there in the end because I've already done what I thought was impossible for me anyway. Like I did not think, if you rewind 4 years, there's no way that making videos online was going to be my full-time job. I was going to be a vet student. Like this is so far from what I was going to do. So I've already done like stuff that I didn't think was possible.
Yeah.
So now my mindset is kind of the same for that in all things in life. And anything I decide to do, I'm like, with the hard work, I can get it. So it's kind of annoying to have that mindset.
No, it serves you well. It serves you very well. And I feel like I've done a couple of these podcast videos so far, and a lot of like the reoccurring theme is with the mindset I feel like once you've proven to yourself you can do this, it's like, okay, now I want to do this, I can do it. So it definitely serves you well.
It is a confidence builder to have like tried at something and be succeeding at it, especially when you had doubts originally. But yeah, so day to day, like my life is kind of what I make it. It takes a lot of hard work. I don't want to like get that twisted. There's a lot of time, a lot of hours that goes into like editing, like video ideas, filming, traveling across the world to make it happen. And then the money investment that goes into that, because like I'd be taking trips off my own money and hoping that the videos that I put out in a month's time are going to do well.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like I don't get paid by platform. So it's like I'm trying to hope that a brand wants to get involved. It's a lot of just like reinvestment in yourself. So I think like that is definitely different in my life. Like you just have to bet on yourself. And that's something that I'm still learning over time. And sometimes I find myself thinking like, oh, I don't think I can do this, or what's the point? But I have to remind myself that I'm already like kind of living the dream and I can dream bigger and achieve that as well. So yeah, aside from the money, it's just given me so much freedom.
Yeah.
So much freedom. And like, I really feel like now I know what true freedom is. And I don't think I would ever go back to a more rigid, structured life.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are ways around it. Like you don't need to do that. And I just didn't know that before I took this leap.
Yeah. And I feel like especially kind of hearing that story, it will be useful for someone who's kind of wanting to take that path, not only, and especially
why I decided to make this whole series anyway, because I feel like it's good for Black women or women of colour to see someone that looks like themselves achieve these things and talk about the freedom that you've got from it. And they're like, oh, I could see myself in her. Oh, I could do those things too. So yeah, you've also inspired a lot of people. So that's great too.
Thank you.
Right, moving on to how to actually build it and the more so practical part. For someone starting from absolutely zero, haven't posted, thinking about it, playing in their mind, no following, no niche, no strategy, what are the 3 things you would tell them to start doing? Start with straight away.
The first thing I would say is forget the niche. Forget the niche.
Okay.
Especially like a really small niche, and get pillars instead of your content. So kind of look at yourself and say, who am I? What is important to me? What do I have to offer that other people don't? What am I good at? What are my strengths? And try and see if you can think of like 3 to 5 things that you feel like you could talk about for hours, or that you can make content on and be able to be consistent with that and not run out of ideas. And when you find those 3 to 5 things, that should be your like content pillars. That's your niche, but it's actually not as small and specific as you think. So that would be the first thing I'd say. What else? I'd say secondly, don't make the process too hard. So if you're doing some specific type of editing that's got all the sound effects and all of this, and it's making you take like 4 hours to produce a 30-second clip, and you're tired and you don't want to do it anymore, don't do it. Like, there's some people that are huge creators and they don't even cut their videos, and they'll just be rambling for 20 minutes, but they've got something to say that's worth listening to, so people stay. And then they've got people that don't necessarily have anything to say, but they're doing all these jump cuts and everything, and somehow it's exciting and they also get views. So wherever you are on the spectrum of like editing, it doesn't matter, and you don't need to be at this like A1 level from the start. So just find something that is like a middle ground where you feel like you can make content in a decent amount of time, and that you can keep up with it and stay consistent, and then that will be how you edit. So don't necessarily look too hard at what other people are doing. And then thirdly, I would say it comes for like the mindset. Like again, I think you just kind of have to like think of what your goals are, and like don't necessarily put time restrictions on these goals. Don't like make yourself panic, because with the internet it's up to them how fast it happens for you. It's actually kind of sometimes it's not up to you. You can be like the package ready for like the internet to see you, but they're just not seeing you yet. So I would say make your goals and like stick to them, work towards them, but don't necessarily put a time frame on them, and don't put the numbers to them. Just kind of make more personal goals, personal achievements, and stick to them as well. So once you've got these like base things, then you'll start creating with passion and with consistency, and you'll start what will be like a steady journey rather than trying to take shortcuts. And these are like the real things that some people might have views and they might be, you know, a couple of years into their career, but now they're trying to go back and put these pillars in place because they realise, I haven't got a brand, I've just got views and I've just got followers, but it's kind of empty and no one actually knows who I am because I didn't show that side of me. So if you can do that from the very, very start, then it's like you're going to build followers that are like really wanting to be there and really know who you are, and as you shift and change, they'll also be there for you through that. Whereas some people might just focus on one small niche, then they get tired of that, there's nothing you can do about it, you've kind of lost your following there. So yeah.
Okay. And that also, I suppose, ties into the consistency of things as well, because you're posting, but you need to make sure that you're doing it consistently. Now, when you started, you kind of mentioned that you were working with the social media clients and whatnot. So what would you kind of recommend to the girls that are, whether they're working jobs or they're in school or whatever, to kind of make... I don't know how you kind of structured it within your schedule to kind of be like, right, I'm going to make sure I'm posting once a week, 3 times a week, but every single week content is going out. Because even now, you're making sure that content's still going out.
Yeah.
You could be in Jamaica. You can be in Brazil. That content's still going out.
Yeah. I think trying to find, again, what works for you. I know some people that will batch create, so they'll make like a week's worth of videos or 2 weeks worth of videos, and then they literally won't touch a camera or editing again until the following 2 weeks, and that works for them. For me, I'm a bit too like ADHD type B for that, so I can't plan ahead. I just can't do it. I just can't. Even if I've got the written down plan, I can't edit the video if I know I've got more time, because I've got to procrastinate first. These are the things. So find what works for you. For me personally, I'll have like ideas. Whenever I have great ideas, I like to write them in notes. I have it pinned at the top. It's called good ideas. And I'll just write any good ideas I have, so they're just not lost into the abyss and into like the busyness of my brain. If I can ever make one of those ideas happen, it's like, great, that's like something great going on. But in the meantime, I'm trying to churn out as many like consistently small ideas, like things that align with the pillars that I've put in place, like vlogs or like how-tos, packing, like pre-travel tips, all these different things. I'm trying to keep them going on a consistent basis, which for me, I'm kind of posting like every other day at the moment, but there's been times where I've been posting once a week. There's been times I've posted 2 times a day. Like, wow. I know, it's been a lot. So I would say just stay consistent with what works for you. Don't burn you out. And if you have like a smaller capacity of time because you're working a full-time job, then think, you know, if I can do half an hour a night, at the end of the week, I'm going to have a really good video that I'm proud of, and I'll post it. So it just doesn't matter, because again, you're making this is your career, and there's no boss saying that you need to have this done and this done. So just make a small goal that you can definitely reach, so you don't get disappointed and disheartened along the way.
Yeah, that's a good point. And when it comes down to content strategy, how do you kind of structure how do you kind of decide what you're going to post, what you're going to keep private, how do you go about that? And then how would you recommend to structure that for everyone? I suppose it depends on the niche and whatnot, but yeah, how do you go about it?
I would say overall, especially if you're starting off, the best place to experiment and figure out what works for you and stuff is TikTok.
Okay.
Everyone knows that TikTok has everything on there. And even now, when I'm kind of afraid to try new ideas, I'll just throw it on TikTok and see how it does. And if it does kind of well there, I'm like, okay, like it's Instagram safe. Like I feel more secure to move it to Instagram.
Instagram is the more serious one.
It's the more serious one, yeah. I feel more pressure there anyway.
Oh, really?
Even when I've had more followers on TikTok, I still feel more pressure for Instagram. It's a little bit more curated, and TikTok's a lot more forgiving and fun.
Yeah.
So I would say, especially if you're starting out, and I started TikTok first, I think it had a bit of a head start. Throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks. If you have a tiny idea and you can't be bothered to edit it too well, just get the idea together and put it on TikTok, and that will help you see what people want to see. So if you're ever nervous about ideas or anything like that, strategy-wise, just throw anything on TikTok and kind of look for the patterns and the trends. If you're only posting, you know, once a week, once every 2 weeks, it's going to take you a longer time to spot patterns and trends in what's doing well and what's not working well. So if you have extra time, if you just kind of put more, you know, examples out there on TikTok, you can kind of get that data that you need to decide what your next step should be.
And so obviously you've been doing content for a long while now, so I'm guessing you've kind of seen people come into the industry, leave the industry, all that jazz. So what would you kind of say, from what you've seen, a lot of people get wrong when they're building their personal brand or building their content and whatnot? Yeah,
I think the main thing that's important is the balance between videos and fun and all of that jazz and having a business. And this balance is just so important. The mix that you have is so important. If you're just about the videos and stuff, that's all great, and there's passion there and you're going to have fun, but you're not going to be able to make money in this.
Or so sustainable money.
Sustainable money. You won't be able to have it as like your full-time job and also be able to pay rent somewhere, because you might not get paid for 6 months, and then something big's going to come and you're going to get more hope, and then it's gone again. So if you're just too in the creative bag, then it can kind of be like short-lived, cause a lot of stress, and just it's not the best. Being too business-minded is then people are like, why do I want to follow this person
Yeah.
if they're just selling to me constantly? And I feel like it's like a company, and they lose that relatability. So I think finding where works for you, somewhere in the middle, is always best. And I think when you're starting out, try not to focus on the finances of it too much. This is why it is good to start alongside a 9-to-5 or alongside what you've currently got going, and wait until you're getting those bits of financial stability before you make the shift to being like a full-time creator, for example. It is good to invest your time in, but try and keep things in the start towards more of the creative side, and then as you grow, it's really important to tap into the business and financial side, because that's how you make like a true career of it, and you make it sustainable and long term, which is what I've done over time as well.
Okay, so now more so moving on to staying authentic as you grow. I think what I've seen people talk about on TikTok and big creators and whatnot. Obviously, as you grow, there becomes more pressure, and that's pressure to do more, pressure to work with more brands, pressure to fit into a mold. But I've kind of seen the women who are most powerful and have really good personal brands are the ones that, like you said, don't move away from their ethos or their morals. So again, how have you really tried to stay true to yourself? And when it comes to working with those brands that don't align with you, or maybe moving to some where you might know, oh, I can sell a lot to my audience because they're buy this, but you don't truly believe in it. What has kind of helped you stay true to yourself and not go down that route?
I would say, unfortunately, it's not a very helpful answer. I think a lot of it is down to just my personality and who I am as a person, full stop. I'm quite a stubborn person. I'm quite driven. I'm like confident and kind of just know who I am and that I am a good person, and that I'm going to stay that way.
Yeah.
And like kind of stubborn, kind of like I can't be swayed away from what I believe in.
Yeah.
So I think as I've grown, I haven't lost that.
Yeah.
And I'm not at the stage where I can like lose myself in the fame because I'm not famous like that. But I just don't think you can change these core things about me. And that's been really helpful along this journey when I've been presented with financial opportunities and things like that. I just can't morally do things that I don't believe in. So I think, if anything, along the way, you should just be making sure that you're checking in with yourself and saying, like, you know, what do I believe in? What would someone like me at the start think of what I'm doing now? And kind of stay true to that. And I think that's where my authenticities come from, because I would roast someone if they were doing the wrong thing. Like, I would be like, why has she done that? She had such a good thing going. So a key part of authenticity is staying true to yourself and learning from other people's mistakes, and trying not to make the mistakes yourself. So if you're seeing someone take a brand deal that doesn't align with them and you're thinking, oh, why did they take that one? Then take that advice on yourself and be like, I don't want to make the same mistake. So I think just kind of be authentic to what you believe in, and it should all kind of work out. Just don't lose yourself in the process. Nothing's that important that you should lose yourself.
True. And I feel like it's like, I forgot what the saying is, but like they say, oh, when you make more money, you just become more of who you actually are. And I suppose if you are already, I feel like if you're a person that's easily swayed, and before you have the internet fame or whatever, and you're like easily then I suppose as you get those brand deals, you're like, I'll go with that. If you're already a stubborn, determined person, you're going to be like, okay, well, that doesn't align with me, that wouldn't make sense. No. So yeah, you're right. What would you say it means to you to be a solo black female travel creator representing what you represent? And do you kind of feel that you have a responsibility within the industry? And if so, how does it sit with you?
Well, I think especially to start with, I was really like, I don't see other black women doing what I'm trying to do here. And you got to think, like, now there's quite a lot of people in the niche, for example, but rewind 4 years, if you were in travel, you were either in luxury travel, or you were blonde, beachy waves, like surfer girl. There really wasn't, even backpacking just wasn't this big. Staying in hostels wasn't this big. And especially like as a black woman staying in a hostel, it's already some controversy right there. Okay, so rewind back 4 years, there wasn't many people in this niche that I could see myself in whatsoever. Most people were white, had like blonde beachy hair, surfer girls, surfer boys, or they were in luxury. If you were black, it was like, I'm seeing you in a really nice resort or whatever. And I was on a budget. I'm young. I'm still young. Back then I was even younger. And I was like, where's the people that look like me who are trying to do this? So I think that was really, in the beginning, a motivator, and like really had me like, I'm trying to make a difference. I'm trying to inspire girls that look like me, or who like have similar personality traits to me, or whatever it is. If they see themselves in me, I want to show them that they can do exactly what I'm doing, because I'm not special. Like, I'm just doing the thing and filming it, basically. And I think over time, seeing more people come into the space, it's been like really encouraging, and I feel like I have more community in that. But also the pressure's kind of come off. Not that in the start I felt like, you know, I had to prove something, but I was really like trying to make a difference. Whereas now it's like I feel like there's more of us, and I've got less self-made pressure to kind of put this content out there for that reason. So I think as over time, that kind of pressure has gone, and I can create with like other purposes. But in the start, that really was something that I was definitely focusing on. But I do think it is important to be able to see yourself in the content you're consuming. And I get a lot of messages and DMs saying like, oh, I'm mixed race and this, or maybe even, how do you deal with a strict Jamaican dad? Or, you know, how it is with like getting permission from parents, like nobody in my family's done something like this before. And it's like, these are certain problems that not everyone will be encountering, but I've encountered similar things, and I can give that advice. So I think being a part of like Black community, LGBTQ plus community, I've got these unique perspectives and can kind of be like a bit of guidance, a bit of inspiration for people.
Love that. So this question is kind of linking onto why the rooms you're in matter, and why spaces like what I'm creating matters. And also, actually, before we get onto that, I suppose it kind of links with the events, the groups that you put together, because it's kind of creating that community to show that, okay, you want to go on a travel, here's people that look like you, a diverse group that looks like you, and we can do these fun things together. So why would you say, before we go and speak about the event, that community and connection and being around like-minded women like yourself matters when you're trying to build something, or you're scared to go on a travel trip? Why do these spaces actually matter?
I think it makes you feel comfortable. And I think comfort, like, it's quite hard to find these days, especially in like people, like if you're trying to get into a certain thing, a new hobby, for example, like hiking, that's already a new step in itself. But then getting there and realizing no one looks like you, or no one aligns with you, it's like then you feel like even more out of it. And I think community is something that makes you feel welcomed, makes you feel like encouraged to try new things, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. It's why I do my group trips, and I'm starting to host events like in England as well. And I think the community just brings some sort of strength and some inspiration, and people that you can talk to about your specific challenges, and the goals that you have as well.
Okay, so now speaking about why you wanted to participate and why not you, and why you wanted to kind of speak at the event, why do you think spaces like, so obviously at the event we're going to be talking about how to grow a personal brand, which Dominique is going to be speaking on the panel, thanks for that. We're going to be speaking about how to grow your finances, and also how to build a 6 and 7 figure business. Why did you kind of want to be in spaces like this and be part of it, I suppose?
I think one side of it is for other people and showing up, representing and giving my perspective. But another side is for me, because like I'm really proud to be a part of these kind of things. Like an opportunity to like speak means that somebody has come to me and said, you're inspiring, or I feel like you're an expert at something. And that is like, wow, like I'm really happy that you thought that about me. Like even you coming to me, I'm like, wow, like I'm someone you can come to, and like I have something to say. And I do have something to say. So I spoke at a panel recently, and I just felt like really proud of myself. So I like doing these things, especially in person where the internet lacks so much connection. These in-person events bring me so much joy. So that's one side of why I do it. But then the other side is, again, like, I'm really talking to, like, my past self and to the people in the audience saying, like, you can do what I'm doing. Like, I didn't have any special tip or trick or whatever. I just tried and stuck with something. And, you know, I feel like my motivation was even bigger because it was a personal mission rather than working for someone else, making money for someone else. This is like, if this works out, this is success for me, and I can make a bigger impact. So I think going to these events, getting involved and showing up can show other people that they can do exactly what I've done, and the barriers in place, what they think are in place, are not as big as they originally thought.
And that's also why I wanted to put it on, because I feel like when it comes to whether it be creating a personal brand, whether it be building a business, or just the education around I remember when we were, what was it, in not Colombia, in Brazil, and we were talking about finance.
We were sat in like this much water
literally
in the sea, and the fish were going around, and you were like, let's talk about investing, and we just spoke about it, and I was just like, you know so much. You know so much.
And I feel like it's such an important thing to know about, though, because obviously making money is one thing, but then being able to actually grow it and do all these things. So that's why I'm like, okay, men know all these things.
Yeah.
Men know how to do this and that. Why? And not only women, but women of colour. So, like I said, I just think it's such an important thing to have.
Yeah, I think things like finances and just even trying for careers that aren't on the typical academic path, so even creative careers, things like that, I think it's a bit less spoken about, especially amongst people of colour. I don't know if that's something that our parents have kind of passed down from maybe their life experiences, which is completely valid, but I think these kind of things aren't spoke about. And as soon as they are spoke about, people are like, well, now I know. And now I can go ahead and do this myself.
Exactly.
We had like a 5-minute conversation about finances, and the girl that was with us left knowing this much more stuff, and she was motivated to like buy a book and look into it or start a new account or whatever. So it's just like, it just takes one conversation to help someone on what could be a really long and helpful journey.
So, what would you say to someone who's sitting on the fence and thinking, should I go to an event like this? Is it going to be worth it? What would you say to them?
I would say it's not often that you're going to get a room of people that have such deep knowledge in such a diverse range of subjects. Luella's got everyone together from different places. She knows. Like, the first thing, when I met you, I was like, oh, this girl's nice, she's funny, normal girl. Then you reveal that you have this whole business, like, baddie side to you. And I was like, wow. I'm very impressed, I'm very inspired. So Luella inspires me. And she's gathered, like, all these incredible people. I feel honoured to be here, and I'm just this much of who's going to be there. So I think the event's going to be incredible. I can't wait. I can't wait to meet these other panellists and other speakers. So if you're on the fence about coming, definitely come, because this can open doors for you. You can talk to me, you can talk to Luella herself. Like, there's so many people that you're just not going to get to be in a room with otherwise, and this is just an opportunity presented to you on a platter. So there's no reason not to go, really.
Wow, thank you for being part of this video.
Thanks for having me.
It was a great video. I don't know if you have any last words or... Yeah.
Can I plug myself?
Yes, of course. You were going to be plugged anyway.
Let me plug myself. You can find me on all social media at Dominique Travels. And yeah, check out my group trips. If you,
of course, yes, and I recommend, definitely recommend.
This is like literally not like a sales job for me. Like, for me, this is about connection and fun and traveling the world with cool people. And like, Luella's experienced it. She's booked again, and I know she's gonna book again.
Oh, yes.
And like, half the people on all my trips have been on a previous one and they've come back, which just, that is what gives me so much confidence in these trips. Like, I know they're good because people are coming back. So if you feel like you want to travel the world, see a new country, just meet new friends that are cool and have different interests, and you never know, you might be sat down on their podcast or whatever. Like, literally, you don't know who you will meet on my trips. So if you have any questions and want to get involved, you can check out my page Trying to Go There, which is my community page, and you can find all the group trips there, some discounts, giveaways, everything like that to get you involved in travel and meeting new people.
Any trips coming up this year?
Yes, we've got Ecuador coming up.
Is that the Amazon rainforest?
The Amazon, going to the Amazon, staying off-grid in the eco-lodge. Also got Iceland coming up, which isn't launched yet, but now Iceland's coming up. So
Special reveal.
If you want to see the Northern Lights and like go and see some of the amazing geography of Iceland, then that's coming up for the winter time. And I'm working on some other things as well.
Okay, stay tuned. Give her a follow. Check out the trips. Alrighty, we'll see you soon. Bye.